Hey guys, it's party time. It is Tuesday. As you know, that is Monday's hangover. We're going to get to some of the things that we did not get to yesterday and some of the breaking stories that are happening across this crazy world in which we live. I want to remind all of you guys to go to watchchad.com. It's where all the fun stuff is. Thursday, I'll be in Tomball, Texas at District 249. Get your tickets and all the info you need at the website. And also, Saturday night in Marble Falls. Come check us out. Jesse Payton will be with me. And as most of you know, but I need to remind you, Friday, my new song, I'd Be Jolly Too, comes out. It is going to be everywhere. It's the brand new Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. I'm telling you, this is going to be the Christmas song for generations to come. You will forget who Mariah Carey is, and you don't have to hear that terrible, terrible song anymore if you just keep playing mine. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hate I'm not in the studio today. Our friend Kevin Sully is with us. You were on the show, Kevin, just a few weeks ago, dude, via Skype. It's like we keep missing each other. And Frank Easterling as well. These boys, they co-host the 21 Gun podcast, and I want to get their take on a couple of things. First of all, Sully.
Yes.
How's the podcast going? Tell me a little bit about the podcast. You guys are nuts, dude.
Well, first off, I want to say, thanks for having me on the Tom Arnold show. Wait, did I? That just hit me. See, I'm not sure if that's a going joke, but as I'm sitting here, I was like, holy shit, this guy reminds me of. No.
That's funny, but a more conservative, definitely more conservative Tom Arnold.
Have you heard that before? Have you heard that before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just making
Absolutely.
sure I'm Mr. Original over here. That's why they had me down. I just reuse things. No, the podcast, I mean, it's one of those things where I was lucky enough to get into it 10 years ago, where I remember looking around for co-hosts, and I was like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? And I'm like, a pod what? Because it was still kind of new then. And that was a blessing in a way, because no one knew what it was. No one knew how bad I was. So I just kind of learned as I went. And then eventually I must have got good, because we got picked up by Vet TV's nonprofit called the Reverent Warriors. And I worked there for, I don't know, maybe 5 years. And then I found Frank, kind of went off on my own. And then we wound up over in Anthony Cumia's network, the guy that I listened to as a young fella doing construction in college on the radio. And so it's just been great. It's been an awesome experience. I'm glad I did it.
No, it's a good podcast, and you guys, in the middle of all the fun, y'all do a lot of good. You both are veterans. Obviously, we'll get into that. And for those who saw Sully on the show a few weeks ago, you guys are working really hard to deal with not only vet issues, but the mental health crisis that's going on in our country. And I know you guys deal with that. And there's a lot of myth out there, mythology of people have their little buzzwords and their numbers that they spout off statistically, but I don't think people really truly realize what's going on in our vet community in our country. So thank you guys for doing what you're doing. Frank, you are kind of you're kind of that veteran schizophrenic. You're both Army and Marine, and I don't know how you deal with those multiple personalities. And I know you get sick of talking about this, and people always ask you, but you were actually you were in the sandbox diffusing bombs, bro. Like, what in the world? Why in the world? How in the world did you get into doing that? I mean, that's nerve wracking.
Well, thanks for having us. I know for me personally, it's I enjoy being the diversity hire for 21 Gun.
My black up.
I'm the black up. I got no problem with that at all.
Allows us to tell more jokes. That's all. That's what it comes down to.
I heard Sully say he found you.
There I was on the street corner in this, just the whole blindside scenario. No, no, it's funny because my entire military career I dealt with explosives. So I started as a combat engineer, with the whole minefield maneuver, counter mobility aspect. And then I was like, I want to do a little bit more. And I just, for whatever crazy reason, I love explosions. And EOD was just a perfect fit for me. So I put my hat in the ring, went to the school's over a year long, and I love it. Like I've never met an explosion except for the ones that blew me up that I didn't like.
I see those movies, right? And again, movies are movies.
They're facts.
And,
they're facts, Chad.
Don't.
I know
Hurt Locker is a documentary, and he loves to talk about it.
I'm not even going to get into Jeremy, whatever his name is, in the Hurt Locker. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm going to go even more farcical. These movies where guys walk out there and they're walking with their buddy, and the guy's 2 steps in front of them, and all of a sudden they step on something and they hear the click, and now they're standing on a landmine, and everybody knows, okay, that guy's about to sacrifice himself for the greater good. Are you pretty much FUBAR in that situation?
Yes.
Does that situation even happen? I mean, you're pretty much done for, right?
Yeah, it's okay. So yeah, you're done. It's a wrap. You don't even have. Here's the thing. I tell people all the time: if EOD goes down and they make a mistake, they won't know. It's somebody else's problem. And I tell people all the time: the bomb suit isn't there to protect us. The bomb suit's there just to keep us off of everybody else that's around us, because you're soup at that point.
It eases cleanup, right?
Yeah, you just have one big lump of things to pick up and pull back. So yeah.
I mean, it's amazing when you think about the level of munitions that exist out there and what they can do to a human body. It's so tragic that you kind of have to laugh at it. And you guys, no pun intended, Frank, you guys are good at dark humor. The funny thing is, like, I was talking to a Marine buddy of mine who said that they had these missiles, I guess, that they were shooting at tanks. They were anti-tank guns, and they would go through there. And once it went through the armor of the tank and came out the other side, pretty much everything inside the body of the tank was turned into soup, and it would just suck it out the other side. And they would test that on goats. So I'd like to watch.
That's all true. It's depleted uranium rounds, and they go through. And like I said, whatever is on the inside, because of like how science and all that crap works, it's nothing but a ooze inside that tank that comes out the other end.
And those DU rounds are everywhere. They used them all over the Mideast, and I'm pretty much like, I can't tell you how many times I had lunch on top of a bombed out Iraqi APC, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have prostate cancer. Lung cancer, everything else from it. All the veterans. It's just, we're all a ticking time bomb because of that garbage.
Well, you could probably just stick your lunch down into the tank and it would radiate it like a microwave at that point. Frank, I'm curious on this one thing, and I'll let you go on this topic because I know you get tired of talking about it. But in your spare time, you still blowing shit up? I mean, what are you doing? I mean, should I come over for 4th of July? What should we do? Back it up, Terry.
I am the world's most boringest black vet there is on the planet. I have a golden doodle named Captain, and I play video games, which annoys the hell out of Kevin.
He's a nerd, Chad. And he's not cool.
I work computers and IT. I work from home. Yeah,
you want him to be cool, but he's like, he once sent me a text, and he's like, "Hey, I'm at this great anime noodle factory," and I'm like, "What? First off, dude, anime noodle factory." I don't even know where to go with that.
Yeah,
I'm still haven't forgiven you for that text.
I still
by the way.
enjoy the hell out of a good explosion, like because
he drops the subject.
Well, no, because I'm not going there, because that you can take the anime thing anywhere. But my neighbors in the neighborhood I live in, they will, every time 4th of July comes along, I get the phone call, and they want me to kind of jerry rig all the stuff together and make sure they got stuff right. And I'm like, I'll just light it all on fire, see what happens.
See what blows up. Yeah. It reminds me of, as I was saying a little while ago, that viral video where the guy's lighting the fireworks in the streets and he's in the wheelchair, and they're like, back it up, Terry, back it up.
Back it up, Terry.
Freaking hilarious.
It's either going to be really good or really bad. Either way, it's going to be fun.
Just blow something up, man. Mm-hmm. I was listening to one of the recent episodes of y'all's show, and you're talking, Sully, you guys are kind of making light of, and I appreciate this tactic of the idea that China could nuke us at any time with one of those low-level deals where they just, floated in the lower stratosphere of the atmosphere, and just boom, there it is. They drop it pretty quick, and sort of like Mr. Miyagi said, if do right, no can defend. I mean, how close do you think we are on the precipice of World War III of seeing? Xi Jinping's coming to San Francisco, which we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
How long do you think it's going to be before we're like, we're radiating all of our lunches due to low-level nuclear bombs being dropped?
I think there's two two possibilities here. One is that you're at the business end of one of those, and it's done. Everything's done, and that's one thing I think civilians would want. They would want to be on that side of it. But then veterans are like, wait a minute, the grid goes down, and it's just me and my rifle, and it's every Armageddon movie all at once. And we get pretty excited about that. Not that we want it, but if we were in a situation like that, you just utilize your skills. I think it would be great. In fact, there's a great movie out there called Range 15. It's by the Black Rifle guys, I think, or I can't remember who does it.
Yeah. It's them. It's Matt and Evan and those guys. Yeah.
And they wake up in a zombie apocalypse, and instead of being upset, they are just excited. They're like, our dream has come true. Zombie apocalypse. And that's kind of, I think, the way we feel. I don't know, Frank.
I think if we had that scenario, every vet would be, like you said, overjoyed, or at least equipped to deal with it, because it gets rid of our liberal problem right off the bat.
That's true.
Because
everything
none of
goes
them
down.
are equipped to. They can't deal with who has to go to the right bathroom, let alone losing power for 60, 90 days or so. So yeah, I think we'd be sitting pretty.
I think we're good.
I think of it as a hard reset.
Let me tell you how my morning went. I was so excited. And I'm not a vet, but I come from an army family, and I'm a vet advocate, supporter. I've done a ton of things. I've been around a lot of crazy people. That's my diplomatic way of saying I've spent a lot of time with a lot of crazy people. And I love it. I appreciate it. And I know that I don't know shit, and I'm okay with that. But I know that I can buy guns and I can buy ammunition. And so this morning, I went into my laundry room and I was moving some stuff out of the way to put some more freeze-dried food, because I'm one of those guys that's got food that'll last through the apocalypse. And I looked down in the corner of the laundry room and I found 6 brand new, still in the package, magazines for 6.5 rounds. And I was so excited that I didn't know that I had those magazines. And I sit there and I go, I think I got some 6.5 rounds around here. So I spent the morning loading up those magazines and then putting them where they needed to be. I don't know if a 6.5 round is worth a shit in the grand scheme of things. If the thing pops off, if the thing goes down, and you guys got to grab one rifle out of the safe or out of the closet or out from under the bed, what rifle are you grabbing? What round are you going to be firing downrange?
I would do 5.56 just because it's universal. Yep. 6.5 Creedmoor, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 Grendel.
I mean, you can reach out pretty far with that. Nice flat round. It's a good round, but I don't ever want to be in a situation where I have to reach out 300, 400, 500 yards. I want to work within 30 yards if things get bad. But if it's outside of that, I'm going somewhere else.
This is where Kevin.
Frank, what are you shooting, Frank?
This is where Kevin calls me old because I'm.
Oh no.
So I'm M16 all the way, like the old school long bow, big long arm. Only because that's how the Marines trained me. And if you get within 300 to 400 yards of me, I did something wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, our good friend Clint Emerson, he told me one time we were having a drink in Vegas, and we were talking about guns. I was asking him the same kind of question, and he goes, I'm really not he's a Navy SEAL. He goes, I'm really not a gun guy. He goes, I'm a blade guy, and that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah,
I mean, 10 out of 10, I'd rather be shot than stabbed, right? Or cut. But when a dude tells me I'm not really a gun guy, I'm a blade guy, that makes me a little
That's
nervous.
Up close and personal.
So, put him on your team.
Yeah.
Put him on your team.
Yeah, that's strong. That's drastic. But anyway. All right, we got some stuff we got to get into. We got to take a quick little break. I'm so glad you guys are here. We're going to have some fun. Hey, guys, I'll just tell you, for the last 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been an incredible partner with the Blaze, and they are also America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And when I say only, trust me, they are the only ones out there. You list off all of the big ones, particularly the big 3. I don't know if you realize this or not, but every time you spend your hard-earned dollar to pay the bill on your cell phone, all of those big companies, they send a portion of what your bill is to these wild, leftist-leaning, progressive ideals and organizations that are out there. And that's why we're proud to partner with Patriot Mobile, because they don't do that crap. Listen, they're dependable nationwide coverage. You can actually access all three of the big carriers' networks, which means you're going to get the same coverage you're getting right now, but you're not going to be funding the left. And so when you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're sending a message that you support your values like free speech and religious freedom, sanctity of life, the Second Amendment, our vets, our military, first responders. And they're 100% U.S.-based team. It will take care of everything you need in terms of customer service. They make switching easy. You can keep your number, keep your phone. They'll help you upgrade, and you'll get free activation if you use promo code CHAD. I spell it Chad. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Chad, or you can call them on the phone, 972-PATRIOT. Go over to patriotmobile.com/Chad. Check them out, and we'll be right back. So, Sully, we didn't. Let's talk more about this nuclear bomb thing dropping on us. If I'm driving down the interstate in my truck or whatever, I've often thought, what if all of a sudden you saw the mushroom cloud and the sky turned red and stuff? Most people you have that fight or flight instinct. I'm driving right towards the blast, at least if my truck's still working. I mean, the EMP blast from it may just shut it right down, and I just wait on the wave to hit me like, Sarah Connor holding onto a chain link fence on a playground in Terminator 2.
Right.
But, that may be what happens to all of us. Do you think, I'm not worried about Iran in regards to that. What do you think about? I don't think Russia is going to do anything like that. China, those little bastards scare me, man. I mean, what do you think the chances could be?
They all prove that they can do first strike capabilities, right? So there used to be this whole thing, no one's going to be first strike. If you launch missiles at us, we're going to launch missiles at you, and then we're going to get on the phone and say, let's stop this nonsense. That's the idea, right? But then they use those hypersonics, those things that can loiter. We don't even know they're there, and then they can take you out without knowing. So that's concerning. His motivations, though, are empirical. Like, he wants China to be the new superpower and to be the new empire. I think anyone with any semblance of rational thinking knows that if they nuke, even strategically, or in that case, first strike, take out a city, it's game over for a lot of their assets. They can hurt us, but and my knowledge, remember, of this is still, it's like 15 years old at this point. But we were ready. We prepared for stuff like this. And if that stuff kicked off, we would, and I don't think any of it is at least my knowledge level is beyond, secret or anything like that. I don't think it is, but we could take them out really quickly and take out a lot of their assets. And like I said, that was 15 years ago. So I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with you on in regards to that, and plus we got Frank. Frank could diffuse that.
That's right.
He could knock that.
It's always the blue.
He
wire.
cuts the right wire, dude.
The blue wire.
But and it's always the blue.
It's always the blue wire.
I was going to say, I mean, if they're putting together IEDs in Iraq or Afghanistan, I don't know that the wires even have any colors, do they? I mean, it's just all kind of desert tan.
It's whatever they got in hand. The only thing you have to differentiate or to be able to lock in on somebody who's making a bomb or a bomb maker, because everybody has a signature or tell. That part in the movies is true. Every bomb maker has a signature. So how they twist the wires, what style of wires they use, stuff like that, they stick to that because it works, because they didn't die when they made it the first time. But it's whatever they got.
Kind of like a tell for a poker player kind of thing. You kind of see through it. You know what's going on.
Yeah, you'll know if this is the same bomb maker that's in this area here, because all the wires are blue and white and they're twisted together counterclockwise. So you know that this is the guy that's in the area.
I still can't get that image of just turning a soup inside of that bomb suit. Dude, that's fantastic. I'm going to tell that story so many times. But guys, listen, we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about a damn thing, because here's what's happening. Actor and former professional wrestler Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says that he's been approached by multiple political parties that were interested in helping him run for president after a national poll revealed strong support for the star. Problem solved, right?
We live in idiocracy.
We get The Rock. Yeah, we get The Rock, man. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen him lately. He's starting to look like he might have a little HIV going on. He's getting skinny.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's getting skinny. I mean, he's still ripped, but he's at like 0% body fat at this point. He probably doesn't even get his period anymore. So they said that there was a 2021 poll that showed that 46% of Americans would support his presidential campaign. And that was with 30,000 respondents. Shit. What's your takeaway from that, guys?
Frank, I'll let you.
I tell Kevin all the time that I need to stop saying, well, it can't get any worse, because it seems like people are taking that as a challenge. And so as it stands right now, we have a potato in the highest office, and we got the vice mattress in the second office. And now, so, I mean, and I guess this wouldn't be totally ridiculous, but I mean, it's like if you want to destroy the nation, okay, yeah, sure, go for it. Yeah.
We are a hair's breadth away from President Camacho. And it's like every day when you see this, every day you're like, are you, it boggles the mind at how, I was just at the DMV yesterday and I'm looking around and what are those things called that you slip on your feet that Crocs were made by Idiocracy. Yeah. They were a prop in the movie as a joke because people would be too stupid to actually wear these. And I looked around and of the 50 people in line, I would say 80% of them are wearing Crocs. Pajama bottoms. I'm like, we're done. And these are the ones who are voting for The Rock because he's an actor.
Because he's cool.
Because he's cool. Oh, we're so doomed.
Yeah, we're screwed.
Yeah, that was the same when there was a big push for Matthew McConaughey to run for governor here in the state of Texas. And
that was real?
That was real. That was real. And he was considering it. Again, I think it was a popularity grab for him because everybody was talking about it. But I like at that point in time, you're right, Sully, what you said. Joe Biden's already shaking hands with ghosts on stage. It's like Shane Gillis said, he's like a Roomba bouncing off of things, just kind of doesn't know where to walk, And, he can't make it up to the top of the stairs of Air Force One anymore. They had to start using the 14 steps to go into the underbelly. I mean, he tripped over 4 steps the other day going up a stage.
It's embarrassing.
And now one of the big things that they're worried about is the Democrats, I read in an article this morning, are genuinely concerned that when he goes to visit with President Xi from China in San Francisco this week, that Xi will actively try to embarrass him. If they're trying to get him to walk, I don't know how you try to do that.
He's already done it.
I mean, you just get him to walk and talk, and he does it himself.
Yeah.
So this thing going on in San Francisco, it's APEC, and they're bringing all these leaders in, and Xi Jinping, of course, is coming, and Gavin Newsom was just in China, and now Xi Jinping is coming to California. And so I think that Gavin Newsom, who it would be the guy that they tap to replace Biden if he chooses not to run in 24, and I think that's coming. Gavin Newsom's kind of over there getting the manual, getting the playbook on how to run a communist country from Xi Jinping. And to go even further, he really, really is going the extra mile to please his landlord/puppet master by cleaning up the streets of San Francisco. I mean, overnight, they got hundreds of thousands of homeless people off the streets, cleaned it up, and they put fences and walls up, which I thought fences and walls were racist. I can't believe they're putting a Chinese guy behind a fence, but there they are doing that. So I want y'all to take a look at this clip, and I want you to get a little take from you guys on this. Guys, play clip number 3.
Does President Biden agree it's more important to impress the leader of China than the American people that live in San Francisco and pay taxes every day?
First, I completely reject the premise of your question, but secondly, I don't know what the context of what Governor Newsom said, so I won't respond to it.
What Governor Newsom said, for the record, is he said, I know you're saying we're cleaning this up because of all these fancy leaders are coming in here, and it's true.
Yeah, he legit said
and then he sounded like Kamala. He said it's true because it's true. What do y'all think about that?
It's ridiculous. It's utterly the fact that these people, and I scarcely use the word to call them that, they think we're dumb. Like they're not even trying to hide their bias and their ineptitude anymore. They're not trying to hide it. It's out there for us to see. Like, we're stupid, but we're in charge because you put us here, and we don't care what you think because we're going to do what we want to do. They don't care anymore because they know no matter what, no matter how dumb they are, dumb people will vote for them.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Sully, what do you think?
It's just, and it's becoming a cliche now, but it's Orwellian. I mean, these people talk out of both sides of their mouths, double speak. I think what's even scarier, though, is, the fact that they're going to tap this guy maybe to run in Biden's. Because if you look at him, this is how I kind of judge what's coming down the pike. I look at what's happening in Australia, and I give that about 2 to 3 years of what's going to happen here. Then I go to Great Britain. That's about 1 year to 2 years. Canada is about 1 year, and then there's us. And I think Gavin is the first step in bringing someone like Trudeau into office, and our rights are going to start getting trampled. And then the question comes, what do we do? We're all just people want to just Netflix and chill, chew their gummies, and be asleep at the wheel. Yeah. At what point do people say enough is enough, and what does that look like? And I see it, especially if it goes in that direction. I see it coming to a point where people have to make a decision, right? What do you do? Do you just let them do what they're doing in Australia? And I don't know. Maybe they do, and the rest of us just bitch on a podcast for a living.
Well, that's it. And that's the thing is I see people make comments all the time and say, well, you guys, all y'all do is talk on a podcast. You're not doing anything about it. And I was like, well, awareness is key. What you do with that awareness and information is another thing. I've told our audience over and over, in the last 20 years, we've allowed 423,000 Iraqis and Iranians to come into this country, and they're still here. We know how many millions, anywhere between 5 and 8 million illegals have crossed the border, tons from Venezuela. That's the largest group, and they're heavily influenced by Hezbollah because of the human trafficking relationship there. Mm-hmm. And you're right. I mean, Justin Trudeau is completely off the reservation. I mean, God knows what that guy's thinking. He's a legit communist. I mean, he probably is Fidel Castro's illegitimate son. I mean, my God, he looks just like it. I mean, come on. I mean, sometimes he's like, oh, I see that baby. That baby's black. We know where that baby came from.
Well, Frank's my dad. Did you tell?
He's the one that got away.
But and we know all this stuff that's going on, and we say that, and again, like you said, Frank, they look at it and they go, "Oh, these people are dumb. It doesn't matter. They'll do." And Gavin Newsom's 10 times worse than Kamala and Joe combined. Because, and here's the thing, what makes him so dangerous is Biden, we know he's being controlled. There's a hand up his ass controlling his movements. Gavin Newsom, there'll be an element of control by the bigs that are out there that are unseen behind the curtain, but it won't be as much because he thinks he's somebody. And that's the thing. He still technically has a mind and an ego to think for himself. So it's a scary thing. One more clip. I want to take a look at this. Another question, and I love her when she asks these questions. Guys, play clip number 4.
Is the president embarrassed that an American city needs to go through a total makeover to be presentable for his out-of-town guests?
The president is incredibly proud of the record that the United States will bring as host to this summit. Actually, Joe Biden thinks he is walking into the summit on the front foot and able to showcase the United States as the premier destination for investment, good job-creating investment here in the United States, all of which will be on display while he is there.
All right. I want you guys to hang on to that. Joe walking on the front foot is what they said. We're going to go to a quick break. Guys, you got to clean your guns. We were talking about it earlier. Some of those guns have been back in the back of the safe or in the closet. You hadn't used them in a long time. You need to check those things and make sure they're clean. One of the things about being a responsible gun owner is cleaning your guns, and I found you a better solution in Barrel Buddy. Barrel Buddy is an incredible little, just a little tool for your gun, man. It compresses to fill the interior of your gun's barrel, and it'll clean the rifling grooves as well. 7 different sizes, matches every caliber firearm you own. Barrel Buddy's composed of those polymers that don't leave behind the residual particles like the patches do, so it's a safer concept. And it's going to scrub, it's going to collect the particulates, absorb the remaining residue, buff the interior surface clean. You can even lubricate your gun while you are cleaning it. using barrel buddies. So it's an important part. It's an important step of being a responsible gun owner. Make sure your guns are clean. It's a new concept. It's a better concept, a safer concept. Try Barrel Buddy. Go over to barrelbuddy.com today. That's barrelbuddy.com. We'll be right back. All right. So, she asked the question, is Biden embarrassed? And should Biden be embarrassed? I said this on the show yesterday. If there's a left-leaning person out there that has a brain cell left and you want to vote for Joe Biden in 2024, or let's say it's Gavin Newsom or anybody else, after a guy says, we're cleaning up this city, screw our citizens, screw the taxpayers, screw these homeless people too. Just sweep, send out the street sweeper, get them off the roads, get them off the streets, screw the hotel owners, because you know what they're going to do. They're going to take over these hotels and they're going to shove them all in there. And we're going to clean it up for these foreign dignitaries and even dictators. And then they come out in their defense says, well, we feel like Joe Biden's getting out on the front foot of this whole thing, and it's going to be a positive thing. Guys, this is a debacle. How big of a slap in the face is this to the American public?
It's a complete and total slap in the face. And the sad part is he's not aware enough to know where he is to be embarrassed. And that's
True.
The thing is, and it's sad that they're parading this man out there for the world to see. He has no idea that he's this ridiculous pawn. I'm embarrassed when people, knowing that people are seeing that this is the leader of the free world. I'm embarrassed. Now, as far as them, they don't care what we think anymore. They know that they're in power. The man doubled down and said, yeah, we did this, and yeah, we did it because of, reasons, basically. So, and who knows what they did to get those people to move. They probably jailed some. They probably gave some substances like, hey, we'll give you this to go over here and hide in this hotel for this amount of days. They're only going to come back. It's only going to be worse when it comes back. It's the ultimate slap in the face for all of America. The sad part is no one's going to care in a week.
Yeah, no, they don't.
In a week, everyone will forget about it. No one's going to care because it'll be back on, the Trump trial.
Yeah.
No one's going to
Sully, when you hear a story like that, and you're right, Frank, it'll be right back on the Trump trial. It'll be whatever takes over the media blitz in that regard, and we'll bury our heads again. Sully, when you see stuff like that, you hear stories like that, and you realize, and again, it's a humanitarian crisis, homelessness not being dealt with, mental health issues, the drugs, everything's not being dealt with. They never deal with the source. I went into that pretty deep yesterday on the show. People can go back and watch that again if they want, but how many of those people in California that are being swept off the streets and treated like this to make a way for a dictator to come into town? How many of those are part of the veteran community? And where are we as a country when that's the kind of the MO that we have in treating the people among us?
Well, it's almost like they're props and they're just changing the set. And you see this and you say to yourself, hopefully, the people that voted for him and the people that hate Trump so much will suddenly see the light and say, these people, they have no shame. They don't really care for us. They don't care for our issues. They don't care for the fact that, I forget what the data is, but how many Americans are struggling right now as far as net wealth and all that. They don't care. And I sit there and I think to myself, how can somebody see what's going on? Right? We're all feeling it. Everybody's feeling it, and turn around and still vote for that party without even thinking twice about it. Didn't it just happen in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Yet they still do it. What happened? What do you mean?
That one was a little hokey.
Yeah. Well,
Kentucky vote was a little.
What happened, Frank?
So everything.
What do you think?
Everything down ballot went red. Every single position, everything.
Yeah.
And then there was a glitch in the system. I'm not making this up. There was a glitch in the system, and then suddenly...
Frank, you sound like a racist right now, and I think you should think twice about what you're saying.
I'm proud. I'll be that. I'll do that. I'll do that. Only because it's Arizona and the general election all over again.
Yeah.
So That's all I'm saying. All I know is they found a glitch in the system, and suddenly the one. I'm not. Yeah.
But I just.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens.
Why do you think they can't? Like, I don't understand it. My brain glitches out when everybody is feeling this, and yet no one seems to care. Is it that they are just all on Xanax and watching Netflix, and their days are just being drugged away, or are these people? I don't know. I have no answer because I can't comprehend.
The media told them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Their
Mass psychosis.
The brains are turned off.
Where was
that?
Told them. Yeah, I think it's all the above. You bring up a good point, Sully, with the mass psychosis. And Frank, with the media told him, I was with somebody in a major city recently, and we were sitting out a little bistro table outside, and I was watching people in the early evening walk down the street having conversations with each other. And I thought, these people are absolutely clueless to what's going on in the world around them. They're so lost in their own comfort and security that, men and women like yourselves have secured and with life and blood and sacrifice. And I'm like, they have no clue what's gone into creating this thing that gave them these first world comforts. And they're willing to squander it away because they're, like you said, going to the DMV with their pajama pants and their Crocs on. And they're like Frank down in the basement exercises the thumb muscles on PlayStation. It's just, I don't know, man. It's like, and look, I raised my hand and realized that I'm kind of spoiled by living in a first world country and all the comforts we've had. Sure. And as long as the guys up top in the Beltway keep telling us that we can have our, 3 bowls of soup every day, we're freaking happy to have it. Now, look at this. Listen to this. There's we know what's going on in places like New York City. And a group of migrants arrived at a newly opened New York City shelter this past weekend. They refused to stay. Instead, they demanded better accommodations from the city. And they had been bussed in to Brooklyn. They put up a makeshift tent city, and I was going to house, get this, 65,000 migrants, additional housing to the 65,000 migrants that are already there in the city. And they said, no, this isn't good enough. We're just going to go back home. It's not good enough. Does that piss you off when you hear something like that?
It makes me wonder if this is part of the giant psyop, right? Because there's so many times you look and you're like, this makes no sense. Like a bunch of veterans lost their reservations at a hotel for the Army-Navy game because they did the same sort of thing. And you're like, it makes no sense. Writers in a sci-fi world, I guess, some dystopian future could write something like this. And then I think maybe that's the point, right? If they can break us to the point where we just don't trust or understand anything that's going on, maybe they can control us better. Because now I hear stories like that. It makes no sense. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Frank, what's your take on that deal?
I brought this up to Kevin the other day. As soon as the story came out, I sent it to him immediately because I watched that same clip, and what I noticed is the accommodation, the tent city they used. I've been in tents like that before, and in California, and it's a place called NTC. It's a Northern Training Center or something like that, and I've been in those tents before. They're not that bad. And I remember I was offended because I was thinking to myself, we would have killed to stay in tents like that when we were in Afghanistan and Iraq. Like we would have give me that. Hell yeah.
I mean,
air pumped in those things, they had computers.
And
you don't want to stay there?
I was an Air Force flyer. I mean, we did have running water. And so I'll let you. Hey, listen, I went to the recruiter too.
I was offended. I was offended when they didn't want to stay in those accommodations because they're beyond adequate. Because it's like I said, we would have loved to have had those accommodations when we were
I saw the clips of those too, and I was like, damn, that looks like a really nice man cave. Like I could live there. That's okay, that deal. But anyway, so where we're living in, I'm gonna bring up New York again. We're gonna take another quick break. We got another thing that should be pissing everybody off that's going on in New York. But as Sully alluded to earlier, all these things are just signs of things that are coming in the next year or two. You're gonna watch it pop off in UK. You're gonna watch it pop off in Australia, Canada, and it's coming here, guys. It's gonna happen. But it's some scary stuff that's going on. Hey, guys, since the early days at BlazeTV, we've been fortunate enough to partner with the folks over at Relief Factor. And I kind of rebelled against taking Relief Factor for a long time. I said, I'm fine. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm 50 years old, but I got a few aches and pains, but I'll be okay. I don't need to take any more pills. Let me tell you something. That is an incredible natural anti-inflammatory that takes care of all the stuff that's going on in your body. And I'm telling you, so many people love it. It's an all natural alternative to pain medications. And trust me, with the stuff you've heard me bitch about over the years, there's a lot of stuff that is painful inside of my body. And you got to remember, inflammation is not only the chief cause of pain, it's also a factor in many other diseases, and it'll make you feel better. It'll deal with the inflammation, keep those markers in check. So hundreds of thousands of people, can't be wrong. They're all buying Relief Factor every single month, and they keep on doing it because it works for them. Right now, I'll get you a trial pack. It's a 3-week starter pack for $19.95. You can't beat that. See if it'll work for you. You'll know pretty quick, and see if it reduces your pain. Head over to relieffactor.com. You can call them on the phone, 800-4, but check out the website, relieffactor.com. We'll be right back. Kevin Sullivan and Frank Easterling are the hosts of the 21 Gun Podcast. They are my guests on today's show. I wish I was in the studio with them, but I'm being lazy, like we were talking about in the last segment, and I just stayed home. I'm not even wearing pants at this point.
Neither are we.
Yeah, good. God, I wish I was there. So we could do gay stuff. I love it. But you guys are going to be making an appearance on Normal World with Dave Landau and Quarter Black Garrett, so that'll be gay enough. We were talking about New York. Prepare yourself, man. Bite the pillow. Governor Kathy Hochul, here's what her plan is. You listen. The migrants, they put them in these tents. They give them big screen TVs and PlayStations and air conditioning and all that, heat. That's not good enough for them. But if you, by God, say anything on social media wrong and you live in the state of New York, play clip number 1.
Also, we're very focused on the data we're collecting from surveillance efforts. Ugh. What's being said on social media platforms. And we have launched an effort to be able to counter some of the negativity and reach out to people when we see hate speech being spoken about on online platforms. Our media analysis, our social media analysis unit has ramped up its monitoring of sites to catch incitement to violence, direct threats to others. And all this is in response to our desire, our strong commitment to ensure that not only do New Yorkers be safe, but they also feel safe.
Did her programming glitch out?
Yeah, she glitched. She's a lizard person, so that's what happens.
Did she glitch out or something? Like
because she can't believe the shit that's coming out of her mouth. Honestly, what this does,
bitch right here, dude.
it scares people. So you got to think about it, right? Yourself, me, Frank, we talk, and we've already realize that everything we say and our opinions are out in the real world, right? Not a big deal. But the average person is like, holy crap, if I say something on Twitter, on Facebook, they're going to come knocking on my door, and they actually might do it. We almost had a British veteran on the show. I think he did some meme with the trans flag, and they arrested him, and he went to trial, and I lost contact with him because all his stuff was taken down. But that's what I said. Remember, keep that 2 years down the line. People can't be afraid of this. We have the First Amendment. If that means people are going to break down your door because you're exercising it, then I guess that's what you have to do. Because if you remember, we had people called the Founding Fathers who took everything they had and they put it on the Declaration of Independence. John Hancock signed a signature big so no one would mistaken who's the guy that was actually outspoken. You have to speak out. You have to not let these people bully you into this. I get really passionate about this. Sorry.
We have to we got to keep talking, but while we still can. It's funny because every time I go and do the podcast with Kevin, I leave the house and I tell my wife and kids, I'll see you in a little bit. And my wife will always say the same thing. She'll say, have fun and be safe. I says, well, I can't be safe. If I'm safe, then I'm not saying anything.
Exactly.
I can't be safe. So what scares me is they don't understand, like them trying to police speech. for the words and the things that they don't like, and they will tailor it to be like, well, that's the incitement to violence, that's the incitement to violence, that's the hate speech. It's fine now because that pendulum is swinging this way in their direction because it's words they don't like. It's gonna swing back. So it's
it always does, right? It always tends to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know. I look at stuff like this. I look at stuff like this and I go, it pisses me off. I'm not going to stop talking.
Nope.
We've already been labeled domestic terrorists. I mean, hell, the soccer moms at the school board meetings were, the attorney general's already called them domestic terrorists and a threat to society. Even Frank, we're all considered white. What's the phrase now? We're not white nationalists. We're white supremacists.
Yeah.
And so, it's not based on the color of your skin. It's the words that come out of your mouth, right? That's how they're gonna, dictate to you all these things. So I mean, we're just a step away from the train cars and the gas chambers. I mean, Hillary Clinton came out. That's exactly right. Hillary Clinton came out in an interview 2 weeks ago talking about how we need to be re-educated and reprogrammed. So shit. I mean, let's go.
I mean, when it
said re-education, she should have just said re-education camps.
Yeah.
She should have just said it.
I mean, she did. Yeah. It's just in her Orwellian language. I mean, it comes down to you just can't. You have to speak up. Like when I was when I was debating where to take the job over on Kumia's network, we had to sit there and say, this could have implications. And then it was both my wife and I sort of said, fine. I'm not saying anything horrible, bad. I'm saying truth. And as long as what I know in my heart is the truth and I'm not being hateful, then, I mean, even if I was being hateful, it's called the First Amendment.
For a reason.
Yeah. You're not I don't know. These people make me sick.
All right. Let's hang our hat right there. Boys, hang tight. We're going to take one more quick break. We're coming right back. Y'all hold tight. We'll be back. Hey guys, I want to remind you that, as you know, Hollywood is garbage at this point. There's no stories of redemption. There's no good stories at all out there. And maybe it's time for a good story. Time for one that reminds you that there's still some hope out there. I want to encourage you to check out The Blind, which is the true story of the Robertson family. It's now available for purchase on BlazeTV. You can get it there. Listen, if your life is a mess, you know somebody whose life is a mess, put them in front of this film. This is a great one, man. It tells the story of our good friend Phil Robertson, gives you an intimate look into the man behind the legend, all the trials he went through. And let me tell you, he put his family through some stuff. You think they're crazy now, man, wow, the stuff they did. Check it out. Don't miss the opportunity to own The Blind, the Phil Robertson story on Blaze TV. You can go to blazetv.com/theblind and check it out. Sully, Frank, guys, the 21 Gun Podcast, you can find it everywhere podcasts are offered. And I appreciate you guys coming on. Any final words on where people can find you?
Right now, we're featured over on compoundmedia.com. We're also, I mean, you basically have to put 21 Gun in Google and it pops up on all the sites. And
pops right up.
Yeah,
number 21 Gun, yeah.
That's right, yep.
So, good job. Give these guys a follow on their socials as well. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Next time, I promise to be there. Don't forget, check me out. I'm on the road. Watch Chad.com where all the fun stuff is. Listen to the 21 Gun Podcast, and we will see you guys tomorrow. We love you. God bless you. Bye.